Okay, here he is, folks. The man himself, Leman Russ. So I scooted over to the European Open Day and managed to pick him up. Long story, but me and my wife were supposed to be going to meet some friends, and it just so happened to be in Amsterdam, so I was like, I'll get a ticket and I'll go to this, and then anyway, it all got a bit messed up, and I ended up flying in for like 4 hours. Picked up one of these, picked up that sort of flying mechanicum thing, and then came back. And by the time I got home, I had full-on man flu. But anyway, here you go. Have a quick look around. So awesome model. I've had really good fun painting it. I'd say it's probably one of the best models I've painted so far. I think with these Primarchs, I just keep sort of improving, and but I think this one is the wolves, and this is going to be the centerpiece of my army. I really tried hard with this one. I was even thinking about, I really want to enter a competition, like a Golden Demon or something at some point, and I've seen the standard and it's very, very high. And whilst this is certainly not anywhere near worthy of entering a competition, I think it's a really good tabletop standard, and I learned a lot from the model, and I think I'm definitely going to get another one and paint another one up. There's some really cool details. So let's just get in there. You got the knife in there, which is really cool, tucked up in there. You've got his pistol, which you're never going to see, but painted it anyway. He's got these cool braids in his hair. If you've bought this model, a couple of tips for you. So in there's a bunch of just flash and crap that I missed and just thought was details. So all around the belt and stuff like that. So and then by the time I came to realise it, I painted it too much, and it was way too difficult to bother with sort of doing anything about. And then also the way the head fits in. Be careful, because his chin fits right up against his shoulder pad. And if you paint the head separately, fitting it, you might end up chipping the paint on the chin. So it's just something to be wary of. What else? The way that the cloak fits onto the backpack is not immediately obvious either, but there is a little indentation on the inside on this side that you can line up, and that should help you out. Base goes together probably the easiest of all the bases. There's some parts you have to sort of glue this back of the hair piece on. I think if I did it again, I'd probably spend a bit more time with that and get some hot water and blend it in a little bit better. But overall, awesome model. I'm really happy with it. I think it'll be a good centerpiece to my tabletop army once I build the wolves up, and a lot of fun making it, a lot of fun building it, a lot of fun painting it. Alright, well there you go. Hope you enjoy it, hope you get yourself one, and yeah, show us your pictures, show us what you've done. Right, peace. So, books I've been reading. The last one I finished in the Horus Heresy was Praetorian Dorn. I got it on my iPad when it came out. I think I used to collect the actual physical books and stuff like that, but I think I've got so impatient and just so dependent on my iPad now that I got it on the night it came out and downloaded it and sit up reading it till the early hours. Anyway, blah. Yeah, it's cool. I quite enjoyed it. It was cool. I think John French has an interesting style of writing, and I feel like sometimes he's maybe not painting these huge big battles, but it's more about the characters. It feels like in his book, and developing different characters and having little subplots running and stuff like that. So I'll try not to give any spoilers, because there's some pretty big stuff happens at the end, which was quite cool. But no, it's really good. It sort of centres around the guy that, I forget his name now, but he's kind of set upon a task by Dorn, and he's kind of Dorn's, well, he's his praetorian, and has kind of guarded him, I guess, in a way for such a long time, and then he's kind of sent on this thing to do his own, and it's really interesting sort of how he's kind of constantly judging himself and questioning himself, and it's kind of interesting to see a space marine that's kind of, you know, normally very stoic and stuff, actually have a bit of character and see some doubt. But it's really cool, and I think like, even though a lot of the book is, it feels like it's a lot of character development, and it's not necessarily, you know, some epic, massive, long battle. There's some really cool bits in it with the Alpha Legion, you know, doing little missions and deceiving the Imperial Fists. So that's quite cool. And then I think at the end you've got this quite climactic battle, and it is on quite a big scale actually, and that's really good fun. And it kind of, I think the last third, I got to a point where I just wanted to keep reading. I think the first 2/3, even though I was enjoying it, it wasn't kind of like, oh, I've got to read another page or I've got to do another chapter or whatever. It was a bit different, and I don't think that, I don't mean that as a criticism, I just think it was just the way the book was. And I think at the end, it really got me. So I recommend it, it's cool. I think, you know, there's a lot of, you know, I see a lot of Imperial Fist armies. I think there's a lot of Imperial Fist players and fans out there. And I think the Alpha Legion are just such a cool legion. You know, I really fell in love with what they did when I read the book Legion, and how they operated was really interesting. But I feel like if you read that book again and you read what they're up to now, it feels like they're almost 10 times more cunning and deceitful and mysterious. And, you know, are they traitors? Are they not traitors? Even though they kind of, you know, seem to do it for the greater good, was their reasoning or the reason what they were told at least. It's kind of now you're kind of like, you know, have they turned too chaos? Have they actually been seduced fully, and are they still reluctant traitors? I don't know. Anyway, they're cool, and you know, they're written really well in it. And I think what's neat from a modelling side, tying it all together, is loads of Alpha Legion armies are cropping up, and I'm seeing loads online, loads of YouTube videos, people playing them, and some really awesome pictures on Instagram. Yeah, so people are loving them, and they are really nice models, and they've got some sneaky rules. And, you know, I think the whole Hellfire is hiding in the unit. I've actually played against that and seen it played a few times now, and it's kind of fun because, you know, most of the Primarchs, when you play them, you know, it's about you get them into business, and people know where they are, and they're an intimidation factor straight off the bat. You're kind of thinking, oh shit, I don't want to get messed up with them. Whereas when you don't know where they are, and he's hidden in a unit, and, you know, he gets to turn 2, you don't know who it is, gets to turn 3, and it's still not been revealed. And, you know, the guy I played, he didn't reveal it till the last turn, and it was kind of, he had to at that point, because I sorted his unit. But anyway, really neat, lovely stuff, and the book's cool. So, yeah, well worth a read. All right, that's what I've been reading. So I thought I might just talk, I don't know, sort of shout out to some of the YouTube stuff I've been watching. And, you know, certainly the guys I'm going to mention now, they've got a huge amount of followers, but I'm sure there's always people looking for new stuff. And, you know, I just think there's so much cool YouTube stuff out there now. It's almost like you can even talk about like their shows, because they're so popular and so many people are watching them. So anyway, one for me for this week that I've been watching loads is Tabletop Tactics. I think it's a wicked channel. I think I've been watching them for a couple of years now, and about a year ago I decided I wanted to try a subscription for one of the ones I was into, and I went for those guys at the time because they're really just focused on what I like, which is 40k and 30k. And I suppose I play a lot of 30k now, and I don't play so much 40k, but the gaming system itself I really like. And you know, I think they've done a really cool job of making it a channel with a bit of difference. And I think, you know, a lot of the battle report channels, there's a good few at the top there now, and then they all have something a bit different, which I think is pretty cool. But no, I think you know, for me, they've always got a lot of different armies, even though, you know, the guys on there have got a couple of different armies each, but there's plenty of different variety in the armies they play. I think that's pretty neat. And I think they've got like a good core group of characters, like the actual dudes that play, and you can kind of, you know, I think Lawrence has done a good job of the way he's put it together, is you can actually really, you kind of have your favourites. You know, when I'm watching them, I'm always finding like, if Joe Beard and oh God, what's the name gone? And Jamie as well, and the Colonel. And then the Bone, when I watch them play against any of the others, I'm always kind of rooting for them because they always seem to get their asses kicked, or did for a very long time. And you're just like, you know, come on. And Lawrence doesn't seem to have the ability to lose, which is quite frustrating as well. And so, but kind of hilarious. So you end up rooting for different people. And you know, the pastry chef brings so much cheese. It's kind of, I have like an order of who I like winning. I'm kind of like, I'm always rooting for Joe and the Bone and the Colonel. And then in the order of wanting to see who loses, it's good to see Lawrence lose now and again. I think you can probably, it's happened twice or something. He was probably unwell at the time. Yeah, and then the pastry chef's always good to see him lose, because when it goes bad, it goes really bad for him. It's just funny to watch. Anyway, I think they're good. So if you don't watch them, check them out. Really well painted models, really nice boards. They put a bit of effort into their table, and the lighting's good and the camera is good, and they're really good fun to watch. And I always have them on. I watch them when I'm painting, and I often it does make me laugh. And it's kind of, you know, their list, I would say, are very competitive. You know, they'll probably say that themselves. They, you know, Lawrence has won this tournament 3 times in a row or something now. And so they know they definitely play lists that are, I would say, leaning more towards the competitive than sort of a full fluffy list. But there's always a good story for their list anyway. So, you know, fair play. Anyway, check them out. Really good. Tabletop Tactics.